Welcome back to Amazin But True, our Mets podcast. From the New York Post, Jake Brown, I am back after a weekend away in Myrtle Beach. Thanks to Anthony Rivera from Subway to Shea for filling in for me with Nelson Figueroa. No guest today. And let's get right into it because the New York Mets were absolutely embarrassed by the Atlanta Braves in a colossal disgrace of a series where no lead was safe for the orange and blue. They left us with black and blues. Change the color. Do black and blue Fridays at Citi Field. Bring a DJ out and play black and blue. I'm blue, I'm a D, I'm a die. Mets fans are blue in the face watching this garbage every night. An underachieving, disgraceful performance from the team with all the money in the world, with the richest owner in the sport, with two $40 million aces who have been absolute crap. Scherzer sucked. Verlander Thursday night sucked. And by God, Billy Epler, could you have put together a bullpen that's any worse than what we're seeing right now? You couldn't. Every reliever sucks on this team. Whoever they put in gives up a run, gives up a homer. On Tuesday night, they blow a 3-run lead. On Wednesday night, they blow a 3-run lead. On Thursday night, they said, why not do one worse and blow a 4-run lead? 3 games, 3 blown leads, and it's unacceptable. You scored 10 freaking runs on Thursday without Pete Alonso, even in the state of Georgia. He was in Queens being seen by a doctor after the Braves threw at him on the first pitch, and the classless fan base cheered about it. Your best hitter wasn't even in the Southern Hemisphere. Yet you were able to score 10 runs, led by Francisco Alvarez, 2 dingers. Hey, Buck, you want to play him every day now? You want to see a lineup without Daniel Vogelbach? Score 10 runs? You saw it. But 10 runs wasn't enough. Because you would have thought the Jets were playing the Falcons in Atlanta. Because the Falcons tacked on the field goal in the 10th inning against Tommy Hunter, who had to tease us with getting 2 outs and then giving up a ball that landed at a local Chick-fil-A in Atlanta. They only serve spicy fingers at the Chick-fil-A, which bothered me when I was down in South Carolina, that they didn't have original. This Mets bullpen has been spicily garbage. Talking about a couple of hot ones, they got a couple of bad ones. Nobody in that bullpen is hot. Drew Smith might think he's hot, sliding into SI models, DMs. I doubt any of them are answering. You know what they're answering with? A 450-foot bomb. Maybe give him a 450-word response for every home run that he gives up. He sucks. Drew Smith gives up a home run every batter in sight. Steven Nagasuk is still on this roster, and yet he still sucks. Tommy Hunter's finished, and I've said it for weeks. Love the guy. He's finished. You got a scoreless inning from Brooks Raley, and that's about it. Jeff Brigham was all right. Verlander, I'm worried. He gets a 5 runs, 4 earned, 4 walks, 7 hits. Absolutely terrible outing. The night after, Scherzer had a bad outing. Drew Smith gives up homers like he knows best. And with the bases loaded, 1 out, you couldn't tack on insurance in the 9th. And that was the death kiss for the Mets as Arcia ties it with a game-tying bomb in the bottom of the 9th. Off Robertson, who's forced to go 5 outs because the Mets are just trying to get the ball to him because the rest of the bullpen is garbage. I mean, you couldn't win with 10 runs on the board, that you had to give up 13. I say it every week. This team is too good to be this bad. You know what? I might be wrong. This team might not be good. This bullpen just cannot survive. They can't. How many more guys off the scrap heap are you going to get? How much more time are you going to wait? Look, Edwin Diaz is rehabbing. He's stretching. He's at your local Planet Fitness working out. He won't be back till late September. You got to get there first. You're not going to get there with Drew freaking Smith. He stinks. This middle relief is a failure. And the trade deadline's not for another 7 weeks. The Mets are 30-33 going into the nicest day of the year, June 9th. 6/9 is not looking so nice for the Mets. 8.5 games out of first place in the National League East. They are looking above. They're looking below at the Nationals. They're looking above at the Phillies at 30-32. They're looking above at the scorching hot Miami Marlins at 35-28, who are 3 out. And they're looking all the way up, in the words of French Montana, at the 38-24 Atlanta Braves. And their fans who cheer injuries. Bunch of jackasses down in Atlanta. Cheering after a player gets hurt because he said, throw it again, throw it again. I hate the Atlanta Braves. But right now, I hate Billy Epler. And listen, Buck Showalter deserves a lot of blame. He has not been a good manager this year. He's not getting fired. He doesn't deserve to be fired. But Billy Epler deserves a lot of crap. Because it's really up to management in terms of who stays, who goes. And Steven Nagasuk shouldn't be here. And a guy who played no part in their loss Thursday should not be here. And that's Daniel Vogelbach. I mean, you saw what this lineup what it did without this guy clogging the bases. People want to joke that he clogs toilets. I'm not going to go there as a fat guy myself. Put the fat aside, although it bothers me that he doesn't button up the jersey all the way. The guy's got 4 buttons open. He's got 4 chains hanging out, and then he strikes out anyway. You want to look like Rico Suave up there, at least hit the friggin' baseball. Oh, my God. I got a flight to Miami in 8 hours, and this team has my blood pressure through the wazoo. Vogel sack. Vogel can't bat. Vogel smack. Vogel shat. Vogel don't come back. Call him what you want. It's a disservice to Sebastian Bach. It's a disservice to Maybach music. Cut his ass. He's 3 for his last 36. He's hitting 083 in his last 15 games. His average is getting close to the interstate at 203. He has 2 homers, 14 RBIs, and 7 extra base hits this season. He is clogging the roster. If you do not want to play Mark Vientos every day, fine. You saw what you had in Alvarez at DH and Narvaez in the lineup. Alvarez, 2 homers, didn't matter, but this guy just hits homer after homer after homer. He has to play 6 days a week, Buck. Stop sitting Alvarez. He's got to be out there 6 times a week. Narvaez, is a good bat. He's a better bat than Vogelbach. And guess what, Buck? He's a lefty. I know you love your lefties. He's a lefty. There is no place on this roster for Vogelsack. How could I forget Vogelwhack? Vogel baby got back. That would be generous calling him that. Vogelack. Vogel ain't got the knack. I think that's pretty much everything that rhymes with back. Dr. Seuss impression. There's no cat in the Mets hat. There's no green eggs and ham in the Mets locker room. There's a lot of pathetic baseball. And it's frustrating because there's little rainbow sprinkles of good things. Francisco Alvarez, like I said, continue to just tear the cover off the ball. Tommy Pham, who we talked about cutting. You can't even think about cutting Tommy Pham. Last 7 games, 7-16, 438, 3 homers, 10 RBI. Tommy Pham has been the heart and soul of this team the last few weeks, which has been a lot of losing. But he's been that dude. And he talked about, how his blisters on his hands, how he's working, his work ethic is there. And you're seeing it on the field. Tommy Pham's earning playing time. Daniel Vogelbach is earning time off this roster. You have lost 6 in a row. You were swept by the Blue Jays. You were swept by the Braves. And you're heading to Pittsburgh at rock bottom this season. This is the rock bottom point of the Mets season at 3 games under, at 8.5 back, in 4th place in the National League East. Something's got to give. And while you saw promising signs from this offense, what can we say about the pitching right now? Your 2 aces look horrible. Your bullpen looks horrific. Even to the point where your good guys at the back you thought were good, Ottavino, Robertson, are gassed. You're forcing them to get a lot of outs that they just can't get out. Listen, they probably could have used Ottavino on Thursday, but he went back-to-back days. You can't have him out there 3 days in a row when you don't have an off day till Monday. There's not much you can do at this point if you're the Mets. But I'll tell you this. It can't continue like this. With this payroll, with the money you put together, with all the hype of the owner, the hype going into this season, they can't just go out like this. And we've hit the point here. You're almost at the halfway point. You have now hit the point where you're under triple-figure games to go. And maybe this is the rallying cry. I got 99 problems, but a bitch ain't one. You got 99 games left in the Mets season. You have 99 games left to right this ship. You have 99 games left to show the baseball world that you aren't the biggest disappointment in the sport, that you aren't the laughing stock of the sport. Because with 99 games left right now, at this moment, you are. Everyone is pointing and laughing at the Mets, saying, I told you so. You put your team together with 2 40-year-old aces, with an older lineup, with not a lot of great contact hitters. And remember this, you had all your guys last year having career years. You had them all blossoming. Well, you know how baseball goes, especially with relievers. Relievers who had a good year last year, the next year, some of them just aren't as good. Same with hitters. You have a great year one year, you might not duplicate it the next year. And the Mets are not duplicating anything right now. And this is a painful baseball team to watch. And once this game was tied, you're at the point where you said it's over. Tommy Hunter isn't saving us in the 10th, even though he came very close. Gary Cohen said he's 0 for 3, Ozzie Albies, against Tommy Hunter with 3 strikeouts. And then he hits a piss missile in a right field. I don't know if it's since I brought out this RoboNet. This thing has cursed the freaking Mets. This is the Mets season right here. It's this evil face is the Mets season. This is it. This is the Mets bullpen. It's the RoboNet doll. I'm going to throw it away and hope that this final 99 things change. Amazing But True podcast. Jake Brown here with Andrew Hartz and the intern Nick Guzman. The Mets get swept in Atlanta. Figgy will have you covered. On Monday's episode, I will be in Miami, and boy, do I need this weekend away from the Mets. I honestly don't know if I'm going to even check the score. I'll see what the final. I don't know if I'm going to check during the game. I might just see what happens and hope that they beat the Pittsburgh Pirates, who aren't no pushover this season, folks, at 32-29. They aren't a pushover, but I need this weekend away, and I'll be back for our live podcast. Make sure you come out. Might be more Yankee fans than Mets fans at Citi Field at this rate. I mean, this is bad, and I can't even blame Mets fans. You know, I show up at Subway Series. I've been every year since 2000, 23 straight years I've been in the Subway Series. It's my favorite series. I'll be at both games. But if you are at Wednesday's game, hopefully good spirits, and hopefully it's a win after the game next to the right field gate at Citi Field, Ebbs Brewing Co. Me and Elson Figueroa will do a live Amazing But True podcast presented by Tri-State Cadillac at Ebbs. So come on out. You know, we think 10 p.m., although this game was 3.5 hours. I don't foresee another 13-10 game on Wednesday at Citi Field, but we'll be doing a live show. We'll do some trivia. We'll be giving away. We have a limited supply of Amazing But True shirts. Now, these are the same ones, the blue and orange ones, but they do have a Cadillac logo on the side. So you get the little branding in there. So we will give out some of those. So come for the shirt. Now, if you're listening to this, don't ask me the shirt. Come. If you're not at the live show, you're not getting a shirt. I'm not mailing shirts right now, maybe at some point. But come out, and if you're there, we'll get some. We don't have a ton, but we will get some out after the game on Wednesday. But this Mets team, man, you went into Atlanta with a lead on Tuesday by 3 runs. Lindor and Alonso each hit 2 homers. Pete Alonso says throw it again after Elder gives up a homer. And after that moment, it all just went downhill for the Mets. They go hitless after the taunt. Carrasco has a good 5 innings, lose it in the 6th, third time through the order. The Braves scored 4 in the 6th, take the lead. And are you surprised that Drew Smith couldn't close the door? Drew Smith, who Buck Showalter has said he's in the same class, and Figure respond with, what else does he have to say? I know! Of course he's going to defend him, but he sucks. God, I hate Drew Smith. I mean, he got a 4.37 ERA. I feel like he's got a 7.5 ERA. Let's go through the Mets bullpen here. Let's start with Verlander today, 4.85. Steven Nagasuk, 5.61, who's allowed runs in 9 of 12 appearances when he pitched at least a run, 1 inning. 9 of 12. Any other job, you're fired. Steven Nagasuk is pitching in big games against the Atlanta Braves. Jeff Brigham and Brooks Raley, Brigham, he even gave up a run. There's homers left and right. 3.86 ERA. Brooks Raley, 2.95. He's been next to Robertson, the Mets, second best reliever. Drew Smith, 4.37. Robertson, 1.98. And Tommy Hunter, 6.65. There's got to be help. Whether it's McFarland, whether it's Lavender, whether it's picking up another kind of Dominic Leone, who's hopefully a little bit better than him. Whatever it may be, there's got to be help somewhere. This isn't it. This ain't it. And we're seeing the same garbage every night from this team. That was Tuesday. Wednesday, Alonso gets hit. Fans cheer. Be better. First, you got the chop, which we know about that. Then you got to cheer injuries. There were some fans tweeting about Alonso and like they wish he died in that car accident he got in. What is wrong with you people? Seek help. Seek medical attention. Touch grass. Get a life. And I know that doesn't represent the whole fan base, but for the people in that building who cheered when he got hurt, just because he's, those kind of things happen. The mic caught him saying, throw it again, throw it again. So they throw at him on the first pitch, which, let's be real, was intentional, classless. No warning, nothing. Scherzer didn't respond, which I kind of wish he did. Alvarez hits another homer, shocker. Tommy Pham, another homer, shocker, he's on fire. And Scherzer, who gives up these 5 infield hits, was doing fine with me besides the homer, but then he just imploded and was gassed. In the 6th, Pham, sac fly, ties it after the unreal catch by Acuna. And then in the 8th, you get the rally going, and who kills it? Nothing but Daniel Vogelbach. It's got to the point where I don't even want him high-fiving other players because they're going to strike out looking by the transitive property of high-fiving him. I would have rather him strike out instead of round to a double play. And then, of course, Harris, who kills the Mets with another defensive wizardry jumping catch himself. He drills a 2-run homer off Ottavino. And literally every Mets reliever was bad this week. If they were good one game, they were bad the next. And you were feeling so good today when you rocked Spencer Strider, who said last year, they got some lucky hits. They were torching him with the Nimmo Grand Slam, with Beatty, with Alvarez, 2 homers. Strider is a 7.23 ERA versus the Mets, 2.54 versus everyone else. The Mets own Spencer Strider, and you still lost. Just a disgrace. The Mets will go to Pittsburgh. It's McGill versus Rich Hill Friday. Saturday afternoon, Sanger versus Oviedo. And then Sunday, Carrasco versus Mitch Keller, who's quietly had a really, really good season. Monday, they are off. Figgy will have a podcast with you with Hartz and Nick and potentially a guest co-host. That'll drop Monday morning after that series. And then again, the live pod after that second Subway Series game. Mets are off Thursday. We'll drop that live pod Thursday morning. If you cannot make it after the game at Ebbs, you can hear that on Thursday morning. Hartz, what else can I say here? I mean, you even said when I was saying, I said to Nick and you, I said, get the audio ready. I want to play Strider. I want to play him what he said about the Mets. I want to play Pham, but we're not going to play it because it's irrelevant now that they lost. About Pham, getting his work in, which I like. But I mean, this team, I say now that it's not, maybe they're not good, but I still see enough positive things with the bats that they should be better than this. This team is not 3 games under 500, and they shouldn't be right now.
No, absolutely not. And obviously something is wrong here. Something is very, very wrong. And honestly, I think it starts at the rotation. And it starts with guys like Justin Verlander, starts with guys like Max Scherzer. The reason why I feel that they were in such a bad position, especially in this game here, a loss that hurt so much for Met fans, is because of the fact that Justin Verlander, who's making $43 million this year, who had a 1.75 ERA last year and was the unanimous AL Cy Young, couldn't go past the 4th inning. And I'm sorry, that sets your bullpen up for failure. And that is only because of the fact that Max Scherzer, who's also making $43 million this year, couldn't get out of the 6th inning yesterday. So now you're reliant on this bullpen, which I know they're not great, but guys like David Robertson, Adam Ottavino, you had to go to these guys so often that, guess what? When David Robertson is pitching and he's over 30 pitches, guess what? He's not capable of doing a 5-out save anymore. He's not a young chap. These guys aren't young. These guys are overworked. I'm sorry. It starts with Verlander and Scherzer. And it's a bad, bad look when these two guys make $86 million. And I know people are going to blame Epler. I know you blame Epler as well, too. But Scherzer had a 2.29 ERA last year. And I know he faltered towards the end and he didn't look good. And the pitch clock may be messing with him this year, whatever the hell is going on. Verlander had a 1.75. These two are your aces. And in a series, I can't say this was a must-win series because it's early June. Let's be real. It's not a must-win series. But in a series that you'd like to get at least 2 out of 3 when you have your 2 co-aces going, and both of them came up crap, I mean, that's just terrible. It's terrible. And especially when a team that is struggling to score runs, that they can barely do anything, and they scored 10 runs for you, and you still can't win that game. Look, there's so many people you could put the blame on here, but I'm sorry. I'm putting it on Scherzer and Verlander to start this thing. And everything you said, Jake, is pretty much on point. I mean, you can hate on Vogelbach, and he had nothing to do with tonight's game, and they still lost. There's a mentality that's going on in this clubhouse right now. And this is where I don't want to blame Buck for a lot, because I think Buck is, hampered with what he can only do. Mid-game, I don't think he makes the lineups, quite frankly. I think it's the front office. But I think this is where Buck has to earn his buck, no pun intended, where he has to keep that locker room together and find a way to, get the best out of these guys. Because there's no way all 26 of these guys can suck at once. And I'm sorry, it's going to turn around. It will turn around. It can't get much worse than this. But Jake, I don't know what they do at this point. I really don't.
And it started with Sunday with Sanga not being able to get through 3, and then it was a trickle down. Now you had the off day Monday, but still it was Sanga not going through 3. Cookie can't get through 3 times in the rotation. Scherzer can't get through the 6th, and Verlander can't even make it to the 4th. I mean, that is $15 million per inning. And, you can point to age and everything, but like you said, both these guys were fantastic last year. I know age catches up with you, whatever. They showed nothing that they were slowing down, especially Verlander, who I thought with the Tommy John late, he had a couple extra years in him now, that he would be great, to the point where he had a career year last year. And I can't use the excuse of the Terry strain, the late start, because guess what? 1, now the weather's warmed up, so you can't use that as an excuse. 2, there wasn't smoke in Atlanta. The skies were smoky here, where it was the apocalypse and Daniel Vogelbach hitting 7th. It was 2 apocalypses in one night. This franchise is an apocalypse. They gotta be better than this. And it's alarming. And you're right. With Buck, I mean, again, punny. He's got to buckle down.
There it is.
Because you're 3 games under 500. You were 8.5 out of the division. How many? I don't even know how many games are out of the wild. I think they're 3 out of the wild card. I didn't even check. But if your hope is fighting for a 3rd wild card spot, you might as well just go to Amori and the Corona Ice King in October. You know the Corona Ice King is staple hearts.
Of course it is. But the problem is that this is the best team that money can buy, quote unquote. This is the highest payroll. You should not be fighting for a wild card spot here. Unfortunately, no. Unfortunately,
Hawks, send them to the Savannah Bananas.
Unfortunately
I'm sorry to my neighbors.
For our listeners and our viewers, Jake's mic did crap out there because he's yelling like a lunatic. But I'm pretty sure
I am a lunatic.
You could probably get John Boy to do the lip reading for you there. But no, look, it's a problem. It is. And honestly, Jake, here's the one thing that I'm curious about. And we had different ideas in mind what we would talk about on the show before the Mets collapsed and blew this out. But one of the ideas was we were going to ask you questions and stuff like that. But
ask me a question. Do it.
You want your question? Here's the one question that's in my mind, and I don't know what the answer is, and you don't know the answer. Joel Sherman, John Heyman, who would do the show, but they don't even know the answer to this. So I'm curious what you think. Steve Cohen gets compared to George Steinbrenner. Big money. He likes to win. He's a serial winner. What happens now? We've never seen Steve Cohen mad. We've never seen Steve Cohen angry. This is arguably the first time I think you can say Steve Cohen is probably pretty pissed off right now. So what does he do? Does he go all George Steinbrenner and fire Buck, fire Billy, and start anew? Does he, does it piss him off and he starts trading away guys to get other guys in here? Like what do you think a pissed off Steve Cohen does now?
It starts with this, and you're not going to fire Buck. You're not going to fire Epler in June, but Epler should be fired when the season is over. I don't want to hear he's the key to getting Ohtani. I don't want to hear, let's see if he gets Ohtani, then fire him. No. You're not going to wait till after Ohtani goes somewhere else. And if he goes somewhere else, be like, you didn't do what we want you to do. You're out of here. Billy Epler, we talk about the trade deadline. The Mets have to be hanging afloat by then. They can't keep playing like this. We say they're going to turn around, but we pointed when this month started how tough this June was. 19 games against teams 500 or better. What's the record in June so far? 0-1, 0-2, 0-3, 0-4, 0-5, 0-6. I believe they won on June 1st when I flew off to Redneck Island. It's in South Carolina.
Redneck Island, that's something.
Literally, I went to a bar that was called Suck Bang Blow. I'm not even joking. It was called Suck Bang Blow. And that's all the Mets have done since then. They've sucked. They've banged. They've blown. They've blown lead. They've sucked. And they haven't even banged. They've sucked. Suck blow. I don't even know how what have they banged? Maybe they banged some baseballs. Francisco Alvarez has banged. So there's the good part. They did some banging, but they've done a whole lot of sucking and blowing. And I know that's going to be a soundboard, but I don't care. Suck, bang, blow, bang. Back to X sweeps. They've made me delirious. And I couldn't pick a better time to get the hell out of here and go to Miami. Go to 11. Make it rain like $11. Problem is you're there too long, You can't make it rain too much. You run out of money. Yeah. It's $25 drinks. So, and they're going to water those down. I might have a voice now tomorrow. I hope people appreciate that. I just put my heart and soul into this. Potentially lost my voice for my brother's bachelor party weekend in Miami. All for the listeners of Amazin But True. But that's how I feel about, I was fuming. If we recorded this tomorrow morning, the anger subsides, you sleep it off. I might have to pull an all-nighter because of my anger, or I might get rest just to get my mind refreshed for South Beach. I don't know what to do, Hearts.
Look, I'm going to give you some advice, Jake, and it's going to apply to you, and it's going to apply to a lot of Met fans, maybe all Met fans. Take the weekend off. Just take the weekend off. They're playing the Pirates. Granted, the Pirates, like you said, they've had a better year this year. There's a lot of, it's not going to be, unfortunately, you don't have your two aces going in this series, which may be a good thing.
That's fortunate. Fortunately, everyone else but those $45 million bingo playing bums aren't pitching.
But honestly, take the weekend off. Take the weekend off of social media. Stay away from the Mets. And look, if you want a positive note, here's your positive. They're playing the Yankees next week. And I know the Yankees are good. They've been.
That's why you have to win in Pittsburgh. Because if you go into the Yankee series, if you get swept 3 sweeps in a row going to the Subway Series, that's when Steve Cohen flips the table and does something.
That's especially if that happens at home. But here's a positive. You're not going to face Aaron Judge. Aaron Judge won't be there. And, who knows? Maybe John Carlstan will pull another hamstring by then, and he won't be there. So, again,
Judge would hit a homer into our podcast set at Ebbs. It would land on the table, break the roadcaster, and we wouldn't have a show if he was playing.
But all I'm saying is take the weekend off. Pretend it's February and there's no baseball going on. I think Met fans just need a cleansing right now. You guys just need to take a 72-hour cleanser from this baseball team, from the Blue Jays, from the Braves, and what's Howie got to say?
He doesn't have to say put in the books. I'm just waving Howie. Save us, Howie. I didn't answer your question. The simple moves, no one's getting fired.
Yeah.
Cut Vogelbach. Just cut him. It's not hard. He doesn't have trade value. Just like Tomas Nido, no trade value. What a colossal mistake it was keeping Vogelbach and getting rid of El Gary. Gary Sanchez is hitting a home run every day in San Diego. Stay classy, San Diego. I read anything on the script. Like Brandon London. Read everything on the script. Oh, God. That wasn't very nice.
I'm sure VL will take care of it. No, but look, but okay, so you cut Vogelbach. What does that do though? You know,
Cut Nagasaki too.
what does that do though? So then you bring up another guy from AAA, and who's
anyone
probably,
heard of Ronnie Mauricio? He's only torn the cover off every baseball in the history of the minor leagues.
I mean, again, look, the way I look at it is that something's got to happen here, right? The levees, if the levee hasn't broken yet, it's about to break. It's thin ice. You have Daniel Vogelbach standing on thin ice. That's a situation that the Mets are in right now. But you can cut a guy like Vogelbach. You can, bring up a guy like Ronnie Mauricio. You can cut Nagasaki. What does that do, though? You know what I'm saying?
It's a spark. You're seeing what happening with the Cincinnati Reds right now. A team that is calling up their youth and just pimping walk-off homers. Ellie De La Cruz, Benson, no relation to Chris, whatever his name is. These guys come. What's his name? I don't know. Is that right? Benson? Is that Bensonhurst, Brooklyn? Shabbat shalom. They're calling up these guys and they're providing a spark. I'm not saying they're going to save the Mets season, but Vogelbach and Nagus no go suck.
You call him Nagasaki so much, I forgot his real name.
No good luck. There's no good luck with Nagasaki. Bars. Get rid of them both. There's a start. I'm not saying it's going to change the season, but it can provide a spark. And the Mets have enough DH options. You saw it. They scored 10 runs without Pete Alonso. I mean, that's remarkable. Against Spencer Strider, a great pitcher, and a first-place team. They still lost, but you saw they could score runs without that clog of a Vogelsack in the lineup. He's out. Pham's playing well. There's another DH option. Alvarez DH option. Mark Hanna didn't even play. Mark Hanna's been playing pretty well. You have Mark Hanna as another option, whether in the outfield. At first, I'm worried Pete's going to go to the IL, to be honest. I don't think he plays in Pittsburgh. I hope he's back for Subway Series. I'm a little worried he's going to go to the IL, which hurts this team. But you have options now that other guys are hitting that this guy has no place on the roster, and it's just infuriating. And if he's in the lineup Friday, good God, fans are going to revolt. Are any of these guys lefties? Let me Keller is a righty, correct? Oviedo, is he a lefty or righty? I don't even know. Rich Hill's a lefty. Okay. So Vogelbach won't play Friday for sure. And you hope he doesn't play all weekend. But that's a start. And I'll close it here with my 6/9 state of the Mets. Be better. Brandon Nimmo, you got a $125 million plus deal. You're not getting on base enough. You're not hitting enough. I know you hit the grand slam. Very nice. Solid day. Be better. Jeff McNeil, you got your big contract. You got to hit better. You're not hitting enough. You have not been the guy who was the batting champion. Be better. Francisco Lindor, you cannot hit 220. I know you've driven on a lot of runs. I'm on the Lindor train. I'm not the person saying bench him, trade him. Terrible contract. He's driven a lot of runs, but he is not hitting enough. Your OBP cannot be below 300 where you have a $340 million contract. Pete Alonso put to the side. He's hurt, hit enough homers. He's got to hit better too. Everyone else, Mark Hanna, you got to be better. You got to live up to your contract. Bullpen, Drew Smith. They're not going to cut Drew Smith as much as they want them to. He's going to still be out there. Stop giving up hanging home runs. Be better. Adam Ottavino, get your cutter working. Do something. You got to be better. Robertson, you got to be better. Of late, you've struggled a bit, and I know you're tired, but you got to get better. And then Verlander and Scherzer. If you keep pitching like you did these last 2 days, the Mets have a 0% chance of making the playoffs. Something has got to give with your two aces. McGill's been a little bit better of late, and he won't be part of the rotation. Quintana's not going to save the team when he comes back at the end of the month, but that'll help. Senga, you got to be able to pitch a normal rest, and you got to give me 6 innings. You can't not get through the third, and you got to stop walking guys. And Buck Showalter, play the kids. Give Vientos a shot. He has enough consistency in a bats to produce. He's got to be able to play more. If you don't play him, play Alvarez and Narvaez. Narvaez is a good bat, good defensively, and Alvarez has to play 6 times a week. Enough messing around with this roster, with this lineup. Play Alvarez every single freaking day. If he gets 1 off day a week, fine. 6 games every week, he's in the lineup. No questions answered. Is there no questions asked or answered?
No questions asked. Yeah.
It's been a long week.
I know. Yeah.
Get me to the beach. He's got to play 6 times a week because this kid is a stud. And he's hitting balls out that even Gary Cohen's like, how did that get out of here? How did that get out of here? Most positive tone I've used all show.
You sound like Mickey Mouse a little bit there. I'm not going to lie.
I mean, I am going to Miami. Maybe I'll stop at Disney World. Maybe I'll go to Epcot. Maybe I'll go to Animal Kingdom. You'll find Daniel Vogelbach at the zoo. That's not very nice. I'm sorry. And I almost feel bad because, I think he knows he should be cut, but they just keep him. Billy Epler has been awful. Like, this trade deadline is going to make or break him. And I keep saying he's got to get at least 2 arms and maybe 1 more bat. And then you just got to hope Verlander and Scherzer do something and pitch better. But I don't think they're going to get another starter. If they do, maybe it's a depth guy. You need 2 relievers and probably a bat. And you got to stay healthy. Alonso's got to be healthy. And that's that.
I got an idea for you, and I'm curious where you stand on this. And I think I asked this on the podcast last year, and I'm pretty sure both you and Figgy said no. But if I said right now that you could get Shohei Ohtani and just got to give up a couple minor league prospects, maybe a couple guys in your top 10, and Francisco Alvarez.
No.
Taking that trade?
No. Told you over and over. He's a rental.
But you said you said you want a bat and you want a pitcher.
Yeah, but I'm trading Alvarez. Narvaez is a 2-year guy. He's here 2 years, and then it's Alvarez's time. He has proven way too much that would be a colossal mistake for 2 months, especially that they're playing. Like, they're not even on the fringe of the playoffs really right now. Like, they have to get within contention to even think about that, but I'm not trading for Ohtani. Amazing but true. We'll close out this episode next. Goose Fraba. Goose Fraba. Everyone meditate. Goose Fraba. All right, say it with me. Goose Fraba. Goose Fraba. Anger Management. Great movie. That says goodnight. Episode 152. Get me to the beach. Amazing but true. Our Mets podcast from the New York Post. Thanks to Andrew Hartz and our new intern who just started this week. He's really starting with a bang. Nick Guzman for helping me produce the show. Nick, how was your first experience here on Amazing But True? Did you enjoy the ride? Although you, like me, are frustrated as a fellow Mets fan.
I have loved this team for my entire life, and I think this is pretty close to the most defeated I've ever felt. I mean, the payroll, the pitching, the everything. I feel so defeated right now, but it was I kind of lived through you in that rant. That was very cathartic.
I'm glad I could provide you free therapy. I'll be billing you after the show for this therapy session. A Fordham product. Shout out to the Fordham Rams. So good to know Fordham Bronx people like the Mets because you do have the Yankees down the road, and it has been rough. It'll be Mets, Yankees. We'll see you at the ballpark next week. You can subscribe to Amazing But True on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, wherever you get podcasts. Subscribe to the New York Post Sports YouTube page. Watch all episodes. Find that Amazing But True playlist. If you're watching right now on YouTube, give us that thumbs up. Click that thumbs up button below. We appreciate that. And then comment below. How are you feeling? Vent your emotions in the comments. What do you think of the show? What do you think of what the Mets need to do? Have you given up? A lot of people are tweeting me, this team's just not good. They're not going to make the playoffs. I'm not there yet. I'm obviously mad, but I'm not at the point of season over yet. Like I said, 99 games. It's the final 99. So let us know in the comments below YouTube and give us a 5-star rating and write a nice review on Apple Podcast and give us a 5-star rating on Spotify as well. Follow us on Twitter at Amazin But True, at Figgy NY, although he's not here. Don't follow him. And at Andrew Hards and me at Jake Brown Radio. Cool thing next week, I learned that I did a voiceover for a 10-second ad/commercial that will actually air on SNY TV. It'll be on the network, promoting the live podcast Wednesday at Ebbs. It'll be on Monday during baseball night in New York, I believe twice. I set my DVR tonight before I don't get back till around 7 p.m. Monday night. So it'll air Monday during baseball night in New York, 6 p.m. on SNY, and then Tuesday, real primetime here, during the pregame show. It'll air during the Mets-Yankees pregame show on SNY in the around 6:30. So set your DVRs, tune in to SNY, and if you hear a familiar voice of the Podfather, yes, that is me. Now, I don't know how they're going to work it because it's 10 seconds. So I don't know if it's going to be during the show and it's like one of those breaks, like when they shoot a free throw and they cut to be pretty funny. It's like Todd Zeal's breaking something down and then they shut him up and they're like, now we go to an ad break with Jake Brown. I don't know how it's going to work. It won't be my face, but it'll be my voice. So Hearts, pretty cool. We get a little love on the old network, huh?
You'll love to see it, and especially because we do have the partnership with SNY. So it's nice to get some face or voice time on there. It'd be funny too, especially because it won't be Figgy, since he used to be on there, but it's you for a change. So
how about that? So yeah. Figgy's face, my voice, and that's why they say he has a face for radio, folks. And my God, I'm just like looking now at my cheeks. I need to lose some weight. I've been eating like a monster, and I feel it. Like I'm walking, I just feel fat as AF. Like I need to cut some. We should compare Jake opening day face to now and see how bigger it's gotten. And I'll blame all the City Field food, churro nachos and quesadillas.
What worries me though, Jake, is that you're going on a bachelor party here this weekend. So I'm kind of worried about what shape you're going to be in, quite frankly, on Monday, Tuesday, and quite frankly, if you'll be good for the show on Wednesday at that point.
I'm going to be Shrek 8 on ESPN 8, the Ocho, whatever, Shrek 4. How many Shreks deep are they at this point? I'll be the star. It's just an ogre season, and Summer Bod starts next week. And I can't even say that because Tuesday gets Subway Series, Wednesday Subway Series, and again, live podcast, Ebbs, come after the game. We're still working on a special guest, so stay tuned. It's tough to get someone out after the game. A lot of people just want to beat the traffic and get the hell out of there. So we're trying to get someone. We're like throwing beer at them. We're like, please come. We'll pay you and give you beer. So we'll see if we can get anyone. Like, we'll take I'm trying to think of we'll take Bill Pulsifer at this point. Like anybody, come to the podcast, former player. Maybe I'll get Keith Rad to come down. Keith's a good guy, the radio voice. Maybe we'll get him around. Maybe Howie Rose out there. Who knows? We'll get someone. So remember Ebbs Brewing Co. And shout out to Suck Bang Blow in Myrtle Beach. I couldn't believe it. There was a band performing and there were -7 people there. Like there were like 4 people outside. This like band performing. Of course, they pack up their equipment in a car that looked like they picked up at Woodstock. Like it was, they're getting so much free. People are going to go down there now, but it was popping at like 11 a.m. with bikers, but then 11 p.m. it's deader than Gary Coleman. Like it's just dead. Rest in peace, Gary Coleman. We love you. Anyways, I have literally lost my mind. For Andrew Hartz, Nick Guzman, I'm Jake Brown. Nelson Figueroa has you covered with Hartz and Nick and a guest co-host Monday morning after the series in Pittsburgh. Please go win in Pittsburgh at least 2 out of 3. Because if you lose another series before Subway Series, things can get ugly and there could be changes made Monday. And hopefully Daniel Vogelbach and Steven Nagasuck are not on the roster by the time the Subway Series happens. So you see Monday, and we'll see you at Ebbs Brewing Co. Wednesday after the game with t-shirts, giveaways, and a fun time, 10 p.m. at Ebbs. Thanks everybody for listening to Amazin But True. And even if the morale is low, we got to close it with our 3 words: suck, bang, blow. Just kidding. Let's go Mets. Help.